Welcome everybody to Decks of the Weekend, my weekly video where I talk to you about the deck that caught my attention in the formats I care about these days. And we're starting off with Modern, my favorite format. This deck, the deck that you have in front of you right now, won Saturday's Modern Challenge. And it's amazing because this is a deck that, well, just didn't exist. The player who made this deck, which I believe has like a weird name, like Burn Taco or something, very cool. He got the job done with basically a version of Jund Saga, but instead of black for, Discard Spell and things like that, we're playing blue for Ledger Shredder, very good in a deck with Wishra's Bubble and 71 drops, and Expressive Iteration, one of the best cards in Modern. So, makes sense that we're splashing this one. We're so used to Jund, right, that we forgot that maybe you can just put the very good blue color in the deck. You even have counterspells like Mana Leak. Of course, you don't play counterspell because you have Saga, Forest, Mountain, and etc. I guess you don't have Forest, but you have Boseiju, which is basically a Forest. And then you have Spears, Snare, and Cyborg cards like Philosopher's and Dispute. So yeah, blue obviously gives you a lot. And very excited to try this deck tomorrow on my stream. It's going to be in the next days on my YouTube channel. And once again, I'm just so in love with Modern because things like this can happen. You have, the format is so unexplored. There is so many decks that are just playing strong cards and can go as far as winning a challenge. That's gonna be very hard to do in the other formats that are a little bit more established. But yeah, Modern is so vast and yeah, very very cool. This deck is one of those like Urza Saga mid-range deck which have never been particularly strong. So if you're looking at things like like Jund Saga mostly. It's not that great. Urza Saga deck. Urza Saga is a very powerful card, but it usually slots into combo decks like Hammer Time, Amulet Titan, or things like that. Making it to a mid-range deck is going to be a little bit harder. Of course, Affinity, but it's not a combo deck, but it's definitely not a mid-range deck. So, but yeah, you have the Cyber, you have Haywhite Mire. This is the new one-offs that you can fetch up with Saga. That's good. And then you have Run a Fool to kill both Shredder and Murktide against the Murktide deck. You can play Blood Moon, so you play Alpine Moon. But yeah, love this list. Very excited to try it out. Yeah, Fable. I haven't mentioned this, but yeah, there's Fable as well. A couple of Channeler, just a couple. Obviously, this version is a very primordial, but I like it. Let's get into Legacy. Legacy, a friend of mine won the Sunday Challenge, a friend of mine from my town, Daniele Terra, and he's a very good player, and he said that this is the best deck for the initiative meta game, which is, of course, like I've been talking about it for a while, and if you are following Legacy, you know how much the initiative cards are dominating Legacy right now, and Elves is very good against them, mostly because you have a lot of creatures, 24 1-drop, so you're able to steal the initiative back. You have Snuff Out in the sideboard to kill the initiative card and steal the initiative, but mostly the deck just doesn't pack up counterspell, so you just resolve your natural order and win the game. Chalice of the Void seems like it's a problem, right? But you have Alazar Shepherd, which is a very key keyword that says spells can't be countered, so it can't be countered from the Chalice, and all the other 1-drop can't be countered. And you have Zenith to draw it, and a couple of Once Upon a Time. Just a couple of Once Upon a Time. Weird number on that, 2 Once Upon a Time. But yeah, this deck is, while it might look like cheap, because, it's mono green, you still play 4 Chaos Corridor, which is in the reserve list. On Magical Line, it's not expensive. In fact, this deck on Magical Line, it's less than 400 ticks combined, so you can even rent it with the cheaper Mana Trader account. But in paper, of course, you have the Gas Cradle, Legacy, blah blah blah, usual talk. I still enjoy playing, and also this deck is the best deck possible against 8-cast. That's my deck, and Elves is a nightmare for me. You have Graced to kill the Murktide Regent, and you can even Zenith or Natural Order for it. And the sideboard, it's mostly for combo decks, so Myrmidon's Trap, Leyline of the Void, and so on. Combo decks right now struggling because the 2 most popular decks and maybe best decks are both Blue-Red Delver and White Initiative, which are good against combo. So, maybe this deck is exploiting a little window. That means that, yeah, you're able to only target the Delver and Initiative decks in the main deck, and then, yeah, I mean, you have Endurance and probably Snuff Out as well against Blue and Murktide. In the past, when I used to play Elves, I used to cut the Natural Order plus Behemoth, So maybe you're still doing that in the space of these 6 cards. But yeah, this deck plays Glimpse of Nature and Nettle Sentinel Queer Ranger. I remember playing a version of Elves that you probably can find in my old videos that was just playing instead Elvish Reclaimer, and some version even didn't play Glimpse anymore. This is the older version. Very good list. Very good deck. Yeah, I mean, if you like Elves, this is the best timeline probably for it because of the matchup against White Initiative. Let's get into Pauper. So, Pauper right now, if you've been watching my content, if you've been watching my stream, you know how high I am on Pauper. Right now, I'm a little bit cold on it. Honestly, I think it might be this Monastery Swiftspear card that made me cold on it. Games are not that fun anymore. Or rather, maybe games are fun, but there used to be way more fun. I love when Pauper was like, I don't know, Blue-White Colgates, Fairies, those type of decks. A lot of people focus their hate on Affinity, the Pauper community, but I think this deck deserves a little bit more of that. This deck is so powerful. I have played a team event on Saturday where a Puppet Seat is playing this deck, and it was just so powerful. Just cruise easily through the. We won the team event. This deck was very impressive. There's a new card. We used to play a couple of new cards. First change is Implement of Combustion over over Chromatic Star. We used to play Chromatic Star because you just sack it to Kuldotha, you make 3 tokens, draw a card, etc. But this deals 1 damage to the player instead of just getting a mana, so that's a tiebreaker. I think Implement of Combustion is better in this deck. And then we're playing with, this is the list that won the Pauper Challenge on Saturday, and was playing with Dwarven Forge Chanter over Cassic Flamebreaker. Now this is a 2-mana 1/3 that has Prowess and has Ward Pay to Life. So this is better in the mirror match because you want to kill the 1/3 guy, and you easily do that thanks to Chain Lightning, Galvanic Blast, Lightning Bolt. If you want to kill this, you can do that, but you take 2 damage. So that's the difference, and I think it's a big deal if you expect a lot of mirror match, which is going to happen. This deck is very good, and not just not the classic old burn deck that just burns out of cards. You go Lava Spike, Rift Bolt, and then you finish your cards. This deck never ending with Reckless Impulse, with Ed's Mammoth Synthesizer, and so on and so forth. So yeah, very good deck, and maybe one of the reasons why I don't love Pauper too much lately. It's still a fun format. I still prefer Pauper to, many other formats like Pioneer, Standard, or so on. But I believe that the formats used to be better a few months ago. Maybe it's. I mean, not necessarily Swiftspear. It's just that Swiftspear paired with the so much card advantage, so that this deck gets to have the best early game and not the worst late game. Like, this late game is actually solid. I played Blue-White Familiars in the past, and the Matchmaker's Burn was so easy. Now, with Blue-White Familiar, you can get outgrinded by a Mono Red deck, which it's wild, but it is the truth of what's happening right now. And I'm not here to call for bans. I hate calling for bans and things like that. So I'm just saying my opinions on the fact that this, I believe, it's the best deck. And the format kind of revolves around that now. A lot of people playing Unexpected Fangs and so on and so forth. So you can still get a 5/5s down on turn 3, put a +1/+1 on it to win the game. Sure, you can do that. You can adjust as much as you want, but the fact that you can still be on the draw and just die on turn 3 or 4, it's something scary to me, and something that maybe I don't enjoy when, the best deck, or like one of the top 2 or 3 best decks in the format is that good. It might be that I used to enjoy Pauper a few months ago because I was playing Blue-White Colgates, which is a super fun deck. And now that I am trying new decks and I'm losing a lot to this, then I don't find it any more fun. So it might be that my mistake, and a lot of people, maybe that's how it goes. Like, sometimes you just play non-fun decks, so you think the format sucks, whereas when you play fun decks like Colgates, you think the format's great. That's a possible opinion, for sure. So I think that's exactly what's happening to me right now. I think I'll try to fix that and try to go back into only playing decks that I deem fun, that I think are fun, to enjoy, again, the format. Because, of course, like, this is my weekly league. I've played a couple of weeks in a row, and it wasn't great, but, things can always change, and the meta can always change, and new cards can change. We have a set coming out in, when is it? The beginning of February, I think so. Pure Action All in One. Then we have Dominaria Remastered that might downshift something, so the formats might always change, and I can get my Spark back. Speaking of Spark, Fire Blast. Boom, 4 damage. You're dead. Thank you for watching. I'll be back every Monday for Decks of the Weekend. I'll be back every day for a new Mengu video. Woo-woo!